What's going on, guys and gals, and welcome to Good Reel Hunting, where we hunt for the good reels so you don't have to. It's your boy Brad. The Brett Man's right over there. And again, we have a special guest, our friend Jason Nike, right down here.
What's going on, everyone?
Pal. He's the man. We're ready to rock and roll today. We are doing a review for you guys for Death Sentence. With Kevin Bacon, which we'll get into. Just a good time. And so be sure to check us out on Jason Nike's channel. This guy right down here. Up in March the 3rd, we're going to be starting Real Men and Real Movies on his channel, where we're going to be doing live watch party commentaries every week. Mostly in action, but we're going to hit some other genres as well. So be sure to check that stuff out. Had to throw that out there. So if you guys aren't familiar with Jason yet, he's here. So he's going to be doing this review with us today. And it's going to be more of kind of just a laid back kind of review. We're going to have more of a conversation about the movie and give a score at the end. At the moment, you can stream this thing at HBO Max. I think it's going away. So we may, I don't think you can find this really anywhere at this point. But let's get into this thing. How are you guys doing today?
I'm good.
Hey, man.
Good. How are you?
Good. I'm doing good too. Just winning fantasy championships left and right. Brad knows all about that. He's shy when I kick his ass about fantasy football, so don't mind him. So, guys,
I didn't even draft.
Sure. Anyways, let's not get into that. I think our viewers are here to hear our thoughts about this, to me, very underrated movie of Death Sentence. So, shall I go ahead and get us started, ladies and gentlemen?
Tell us about it, my friend. Tell us about it, my friend.
You got it. So, without further ado, Death Sentence came out in 2007, which is directed by James Wan, and it stars Kevin Bacon and John Goodman.
Right, you are, guys. Let's direct your attention to this freaking tomato meter right here. Okay, this is what we've been talking about before we started the show here. What the hell is this about? I don't know. This is we'll get into our thoughts on it, but I am shocked by the score this thing received. I know you guys are as well.
Yeah, that Rotten Tomato score was pretty much exactly why we're doing this particular review, because this movie deserves a lot more credit than it gets.
Absolutely.
J-Man, do you have any thoughts on this tale of the tape?
That tomato meter is fucking embarrassment.
Mm-hmm.
You go down to each category in this film: acting, cinematography, music, plot and story, characters. You tell me how any of that is 20%. You come and explain it to me. In fact, I will fight you on it. So you better bring your debating in the comments below, guys. You better bring it on.
Ooh, yeah. Slash it out in real life. I love it. Here is just what boggles my mind. Like this being a good movie, it had a budget of $20 million, but worldwide it hit $16 million. So it did not make a profit out of this movie, which I was very disappointed to hear that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know. I don't remember there being a lot of buzz about this when it came out or anything. I don't know. I don't remember. I didn't even hear about this movie until not too long ago. And then when I did hear about it, I didn't know it was a James Wan flick until I was looking at it, and I'm like, oh wow, this is a James. I got to watch this immediately. And but yeah, at the time, I don't remember really hearing anything about this from anybody.
Well, yeah, no kidding, man. Like again, I'm just shocked. So I guess let's talk about it. Let's go with our positives first. J-Man, you're our guest, so you get to go first. What do you like about this movie?
Everything. Great performances, believable characters. The cinematography is something we have to talk about. The real grainy home video, right in your face as if you're with these characters. A lot of these fast zooms, like when the bad guy kind of turns and looks and he pushes the camera. A lot of pushing with the camera. That whole one shot in the parking garage, the chase scene, all one shot, ladies and gentlemen. One shot. And the way they did it is they did like glorified golf carts to follow Kevin Bacon. And they filmed it like 7 times. So he was like dead tired. 12-hour shooting day. And what they did to go from parking garage each level, they handed the cameras off. The guy on a crane would hand the next camera off to the next guy, and then he'd be following Kevin Bacon, hand the crane off to the next guy, and that's how they got that one shot. Way before a lot of people were doing one shot takes. All one shot, that whole sequence was one shot. And
you're right. And that was one of my positives specifically. And you're right, because you see that kind of frequently now with the one-shot action sequences. Hell, I mean, it wasn't actually one shot, but 1917, the movie was kind of in that style. And you've seen a lot of action movies kind of throw long things. But this was before all that. You're right. You're spot on with that. And that was one of the whole sequence with the chasing, and we'll get into it more. But the whole little foot chase there, they had no music playing. It was really well done. But then you get to the garage, and Kevin Bacon's just running through. He's setting off all the freaking car alarms, running around. Yeah. It was wonderful, man. Where they're going from level to level, all one shot. Fantastic stuff. I'm glad you brought that up.
The tension, the sense of dread, right away. Those home videos is all set up. You know something bad's going to happen to this family, and they're taking you through their whole life together as a family, and already your heart's coming out of your freaking chest. I mean, a movie called Death Sentence, you're showing off home videos. And then we get to the scene where his son, Brandon, the character Brandon.
I believe that's correct.
Hockey player and everything like that, gets his throat slashed. And that's where this hits into high gear. And just the performances when Kelly Preston, when he dies and Kelly Preston falls to pieces. I mean, I'm sure we're going to get into the acting, the characters all separately, but those are the music, that nice piano playing when he comes home, takes the shower, and he's just falling apart in that nice piano. And then, the Hey Joe with Jimi Hendrix when the bad guys show up, and it's going, bow, down, 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 bow. Hey Joe, where you going with that gun in your hand? Phenomenal music. Great music. And the little tidbit of Saw out in the where the what is it,
it's like a graffiti painting of like the
that's right. Yeah. That's right. And
Jigsaw back there.
Like the tension. And the only way they release the tension is so high, they release it with John Goodman doing some funny stuff. A bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you didn't break the tension in this film, man, you would have had a heart attack.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot, and it like you said, it starts at the very beginning, from the opening little segment there, even after the film, the home video stuff, and it kind of goes into where they're driving around and stuff. Yeah, I mean, okay, I said this is actually, we'll kind of talk about it more of it later. It's kind of something, it's not necessarily a positive for me, but it's something. The first 30 minutes of this movie is a full freaking movie. Where you get the gas station scene there at the beginning, and then you get his little redemption there, all within the first 30 minutes. Full of tension though, the whole time, full of it, and then that sets up some other stuff which we'll get into. But yeah, I mean, it's fantastic, man.
Shoot, J-Man, you got any more positives to throw in?
Dialogue. There's some great lines. My favorite part of this whole movie. I'm a father, guys, so this movie really hits hard for me. I don't have teenagers, but I can imagine myself when they are teenagers this happening. But the part where Kelly Preston doesn't, she says, I didn't know when the shit hits the fan and he needs home protection. And he says, she goes, I can't believe I didn't see what was going on with you. I understand why you did it, even though I don't agree with what you did. And he just says, "I lost our boy, your boy." Man, it hits. It hits so much, and of course, that when he talks to his other son, he's got in the hospital, where he's crying, saying, "You were never second. Yeah, I love you just as much as Brandon. It's just that you were so much like your mother." And it's just. This is the most underrated Kevin Bacon performance ever. Ever.
I agree. Yeah,
I agree with that too.
So,
I love some bacon in the morning.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Yeah, here we go.
But yeah, guys, it just sense of dread, the tension, and the action sequences are bloody and gruesome. Bloody and gruesome. So yeah, there's so many positives. So I'll let you guys take the wheel now.
All right. Well, as you pretty much hit like a lot of positives that we have. Brad, do you want to go with your positives?
Yeah, so I mean, we mentioned it. The action scenes. This is James Wan, of course, the guy. At this point, what did he do? Saw, and that's pretty much it. I mean, as far as
Dead Silence, I think. Did he?
Dead Silence, yeah, Dead Silence did come out after Saw. Yeah, and this was kind of, you see him kind of branching a little bit into action here, kind of thriller, more action, and all that stuff. And his action scenes were fantastically done, man. All the stuff was brutal, John Wick style, freaking coming out here, guns blazing. His gunshots, you could feel them. The effects they used with the freaking heads blown off, essentially, and things like that. There, especially towards the end, it's great stuff, man. And you mentioned it earlier, the little foot chase thing. I love his choice not to use music in these scenes. A lot of the scenes, as good as the music was in this movie for me, I loved. You get to feel the suspense, like when after he gets his revenge on the guy that actually killed his son. The other people, his gang pals show up and they chase him or whatever, and it's a great scene. No music's playing, and then it gets into the garage thing you're talking about earlier. The whole foot chase, it was great. That whole segment, and then it gets to the car scene where he's fighting his buddy and one of the other gang guys in the car, and it's rolling back, and he jumps out, and the car falls off the parking garage. Yeah. That was freaking awesome, man.
Realistic stuff, though.
Yeah. Like, it wasn't anything over the top. It was just.
This is a character who's probably never been in a bar fight, as Kevin Bacon says. Mm-hmm. Probably never been in a bar fight, and he goes on this arc where you don't even. He's unrecognizable by the end. He's a completely different person. He becomes what killed his son.
Mm-hmm. Becomes what he hates.
Right?
Exactly.
A perfect character arc, and it really, the themes of this, right? I love is that, revenge, right? This movie really showed that there's consequences to revenge. Like other movies, you get revenge, you go right off into the sunset. Doesn't work like that in real life. You got to deal with the law after revenge. He ends up killing his whole family essentially because he brings a war, right? Like the cop says, right? The cop says, "You think because you live out here, they're not gonna? You think you could just kill someone and just come back home and hide? You didn't think they'd find you out here? Something on those effects, consequences of what he does, but for his hatred, right? And it all starts when he's in that courtroom. He's looking at the guy, and the kid goes like this.
Yeah,
he was gonna let it go, and when he saw that, it just fueled him, and he said, "No,
nope."
I'm not a witness. That was one of the things. Yeah, that was one of the things I loved. As far as Kevin Bacon's performance going, like the hospital scene when his first son dies, the one from the opening, he dies, and then the court scene you mentioned when he's in the shower there after that too.
Because he just killed someone for the first time, so he's got so much emotion running through him.
That's fantastic, man.
Oh, it's just amazing.
And then, like you mentioned, when he's talking to Luke, his other son at the hospital later in the movie, guy's powerful, man. And then the home invasion scene was fantastic. There towards the kind of the third act, the beginning of the third act. The way they again, no music, they just bust in. Kevin kind of fights him a little bit, and then it just turns like 0 to 100, man. Freaking crazy. And then lastly, one of my other positives is the music. Charlie Closer coming in again. From James Wan used him in Saul. You get Saul vibes with the score here, with some of the music, which is good. I like the soundtrack of Saul is fantastic. And yeah, you've already touched on the other, like the more specific song there. But yeah, man, fantastic stuff.
Awesome, man. So you want my positives?
Yeah, rock it out.
All right, here we go. My biggest positive of the movie, of course, is Kevin Bacon. I thought he was fantastic, and as J-Man already pointed out, this is one of my favorite Kevin Bacon performances that I have ever seen. And my favorite scene out of this whole movie with Kevin Bacon was the hospital stare. right after he talks to his second son, and he just gets up and turns around, and just just the look on his face of like, oh, shit's about to go down. Like I love that scene, and what I also love about Kevin Bacon's character, it's so believable. Like he's not like your typical action hero. He's doing a lot of things for the very first time in his life. That he kind of like does stuff, kind of like how I would react to it, or how I would fight somebody. So I was just like really believing what Kevin Bacon was selling within his character.
He's surviving.
Exactly.
He gets in these fisticuffs, and he's doing everything he can to survive. He's probably like it'd be like me. I'd be doing everything I could to, but the hatred takes him over, and he goes bent on revenge. And we'll get into more of it. But yeah, it's great stuff, man. Awesome shit.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you both have already pointed out, the music was solid, great song. So I was really high on the music and the score of this movie. And another great positive for me is it's the last act, like that fight in the church. Was it abandoned church?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, like just that the whole gunfight, and then like that's where like you see full on James Wan effects with like the blood bursting and limbs getting shot off and all that. It was just such an awesome time.
He shakes his head beforehand too.
Yeah,
and it's just of course, obviously. The payoff was very much rewarded. Kevin Bacon got his revenge. He got his revenge with his family, and just that last scene of him watching his family on that tape and just learning that his second son is alive. It was just like very fulfilling, and that you feel bad for Kevin Bacon. And I just thought again that third act was incredible.
Yeah, and I got the feeling that he died at the end.
Yeah, me too. And you know what? Again, I was okay with it because he got exactly what he wanted, and he lost his wife and his first son. So what does he have really what to live for, except for the second child? But he didn't know going into that last act that he was alive.
Yeah, and
he was going to be dead.
Yeah, and it was the tagline of the whole film is, how far would you go to protect your family? Mm-hmm. So that's what the film's about, right? It's about him protecting his family and stuff. It's a great movie, man.
Yeah, it's a very
the movie is high because of the emotion. You could probably watch 100 movies like this and not have that same emotion, but it's the way James Wan shoots it, and it's everything. The music, the graininess of the shots, the shot choices, it all comes together, and this gets into your bones, and this the tension in this film.
And Kevin Bacon, you can see it like when he's running from the people heading to the parking lot. You can see the fear on his face, like he's scared.
And the villain was great.
Yeah,
like I really believe like this guy's fucking scared. There's scary gang members like this out there in this world, man. There's scary dudes like this.
Right? Yeah, I like it. It's unfortunately, it's a representation of the world we live in. There's actually some crazy shit that goes on out there, and this thing. I mean, it hits home with it, man. It does, man. And I dig it, man. It's a dark, and I like how this movie goes there. A lot of movies don't do that. This one does, and you feel it, man. You feel it.
That's probably why it got rated so low, because it chose to go down that path that a lot of people are not used to seeing.
It's a valid point. It's too violent probably for a lot of people. Maybe that's why it's got a 20. I don't know.
Yeah, I can't even
at the time anyway.
Yeah,
I think there's been a lot of stuff but I love this film, man. This is one of my favorite Kevin Bacon films for sure. One of my favorite films. I mean, it's not one of my top 10, but I think it would definitely be a top 30 for me.
Top. You said top 2 James Wan flick, and that's saying something. Yeah,
that's my second favorite James Wan film. Yeah, for sure.
Awesome. So what do you guys think? Is there anything kind of in the middle of the road on this movie, mixed wise, where you kind of, it's not really a pro, not really a con, but somewhere in the middle?
I'll knock it down a bit for its. He's dodging a lot of bullets that he shouldn't be.
Yeah.
Especially when they come into his house, he's 12 gauge shotgun blast. He seems to adapt to fighting really well
Mhm.
and knows how to shoot by the end of it. Although he does this do a standoff and he's just doing this, and we all know you don't fucking pull a gun. That's not how you shoot. And stuff like that. So I'll knock it down for that. Like it's like they needed a scene where it showed him learning, maybe if it was over months and months, and he's learning how to shoot and stuff. Like the original Death Wish, Charles Bronson explains how he was a hunter as a kid. So at least I could buy this into this character. I think they needed something like that. So I'll nitpick and knock it down a bit for that.
Okay.
It seemed convenient. Like it almost seems like, but you're so lost in it that you don't really think about it until you go to review something.
Yeah.
When you go to review it, that it stuff like that comes to the surface. So I'll knock it down a bit for that. But I can't really think of anything else, to be honest with you.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, all right, Brad, you got any mixed aspects?
I do. Really, the biggest thing for me in the middle is John Goodman. I liked. Obviously, it's always great to see John Goodman. It's fantastic. I love John Goodman. He's one of my favorites. And I love the scene in the movie where John goes, or where Kevin Bacon goes to buy the guns, and he's like, he opens up. It's like Terminator, where Arnold shows up and he said, "Uzi 9mm."
You got the bastard of bastards. 357 for guaranteed head removal. That's a sweetie.
Yeah.
All that. It's kind of the same vibe as that, and he's like, yeah. He's like, yeah, I'll take all of them. And he loads up. I love that. Fantastic stuff. But then right after that, it gets into like where John Goodman's actually the guy's father. And I didn't really like that aspect of John Goodman's character as much. And then he gets freaking killed off randomly by the son. And I just didn't like, if he was there just kind of as a side character and then he sold the guns and that was the end of his story, it would have been great. But then once he turns into the dude's father, and then he just randomly he gets killed off like that.
I think they were showing a parallel. Both of them lost a son.
Yeah, you're right. That's what they were doing. I just
but one's on one side of the fence, one's on the other.
Yeah, you're totally right. That's what they were doing. I just didn't like that side of his character as much. Yeah. I think he would have been better served as just a side character, kind of boss dude that sold Kevin Bacon some guns. I think if you just left it at that, he would have been better. But yeah, that's really it for me in the middle of the category.
Yeah, Brad pretty much hit my biggest mix on this movie was John Goodman's character. I thought I'm pretty much on the side where anything John Goodman, he's going to give an excellent performance for the role that he's given. That's just how freaking talented he is. And especially, as Brad already mentioned, that gun purchase scene, my favorite scene of the whole entire movie. I was just so entertained by that whole sequence. And I personally wanted more of John Goodman's character within this movie, but I understand why they didn't show him a whole lot, because I'm on the side kind of really of less is more.
Right.
But besides this movie, I really wanted more of John Goodman's character in this movie, and I really thought he was the big bad guy in this film.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and y'all probably not gonna like me for this one, but it's like a little nitpick. The chase scene from that, like the whole car parking garage.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't feel like the middle part of that chasing was needed. I feel like that chasing went on a little too long, but the first and third parts of that chasing were absolutely awesome, and I loved it. It was just that middle part where I feel like they didn't really need that.
Which part was that?
I loved it. So
I believe it's like just like the whole kitchen part and just stuff like that. I felt like they could have cut out the middle part of it and just go with like a little bit of the chase at the beginning going into the parking garage.
Yeah, it felt real though.
Yeah, that's what I liked about it. Yeah,
the whole real. And it's the way they shot, how close they were. They were only 2 feet away from Kevin Bacon, and they were driving.
You could see.
They were driving the mule because a Steadicam would have never worked because they couldn't keep up with them running that in one shot. And and if it was handheld, it would be
all over the place.
Yeah,
and it's just like you can tell like Kevin Bacon's really giving it his all in that chase scene
And
too.
they shot it 7 times. He was dead tired, man.
Yeah, I know, and you can
And-
see it in the scene too, which is so realistic. So that was great.
You can hear
Yeah,
him
when he's in the garage, and I just I like it because it is so close. You could see the fear on Kevin's face, like oh shit, I'm getting chased by these guys. What are they gonna do when they catch me? Like you could tell, you can sense the desperation he has just trying to get out of that, and it just, I mean, I think it's a very suspenseful scene all the way from start to finish.
And again,
Yeah,
it's just a little nitpick, but like I still love that chasing. Just a little, like you can cut a little bit out of it for not to make that scene as long.
NRA not really acting.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's just freaking. Yeah, dude, he's freaking running, man. He gets to the. Yeah, I love it. But yeah, Jason, do you have any negatives, my friend?
I don't really have a negative to this film at all. I don't. Negative is pretty harsh word, right? That's something that's very bad that you just do not like about this film at all.
Just something you would have changed. If there's anything you would have changed, maybe. Aside from what you already mentioned with the.
I tell you guys, I love this film.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with it.
It's yeah, I love this film, man. It's just like I said, just how he's he's like an expert with a gun at the end of it. Even when he's trying the guns for the first time, it wouldn't be like that. I mean, I hunted with my dad. I learned how to shoot when I was a young teenager, and you just don't pick up a gun and start going.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
most definitely. Yeah,
I mean, I took a
not.
firearms course and everything, like when I got my hunting license and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, so just a bit but that's more of a mild thing. It's not a negative.
Okay,
yeah,
and it's
one of those things. Yeah, a lot of movies kind of jump into that with firearms and stuff anyway. But yeah, Bert, let me go ahead and roll in.
Yeah, go ahead and roll in with your negatives, if you have any.
Okay. I got a few, and again, these aren't things that really I hate or anything. It's just, for the purposes of the review, it's things that it kind of stood out to me a little bit. And that's one. The first thing is paced kind of quickly at times. I thought, like I said earlier, the first 30 minutes is a full movie, by itself. Like, you get the gas station scene, and then you get the redemption, the revenge, and it's just like that. And I know there's more to be told with the story, but it's. You get that, you get the court, you get the okay, you go from gas station to hospital to court to he's killing a dude, and it's just like that. There's no time to really breathe through that, which is fine. It's good. It's a good time. But for me, I was like, oh wow, this is already happening. I think it would have been nice to kind of build more of a connection with the family members a little bit first before they kind of get into some of that. It would have been nice to kind of see, and you get a little bit of that with the home video stuff, like you mentioned earlier, Jason. But it would have been nice to kind of get some more breathing room with the family before that the shit really hits the fan. I think it would have. It already is emotional, but I think it would have hit a little bit more of the emotional strings.
Yeah, it got to it too quick. You think?
Yeah, I think it got to a little bit too quick, and then kind of it sped through some stuff, and then I thought it was paced a little too quick there for that first half hour or so. Yeah, it would have been nice to see some more connection, more family connection, and you kind of along with the lines of the family. I didn't really like it kind of came out of nowhere, I felt, but the golden boy angle that Luke kind of throws up when he goes back to the gas station later in the movie, and he's like, "Oh, you never really liked me," and I know it plays a part into the.
It's all done through the home videos, though.
Yeah, it is. It's
all done through there for me, anyway.
So. It's touched on. I just would have liked to see more of it to kind of really get
fleshed out. Yeah,
more fleshed out. Yeah, more fleshed out. Overall, all that stuff. It's not a huge thing for me, but it's just something I kind of noticed that stood out. Another thing I thought was kind of weird was the gas station. Like at the beginning at the gas station where they're driving from the hockey game. It's like it was just kind of a cliche, I guess. Oh, we're out of gas now after we just got creeped out by these guys. Cliche kind of thing. Like,
how convenient.
Yeah. I mean, bad timing. And again, it's a movie. These things happen. But and I didn't really like the headlight thing either. it built suspense there a little bit, where they're like, oh, his headlights are out, and he flashes them or whatever, and he turns around. But maybe the scene would have played out better if it was more of a random kind of. I don't know.
Yeah, I think you're right about that, actually.
Yeah, it just I don't think he needed it, because they didn't stop. They didn't kill the guy because of the headlights. It didn't really play any part of it. He killed him because he was there. And I think, I just don't think he needed that. It was there to build a little bit of suspense, and it did that. But I just it was just a little bit. It added to the gas. If they were just driving and they're like, oh, we got to get gas, and they stopped at the gas station, I think it would have played out better, as opposed to, oh, let's flash the headlights. Then they get freaked out, and then they got to get gas. That's where the cliche comes in.
Yeah.
And my biggest negative is the detective character. What's her name? Bertman? Do you remember?
Nope, couldn't care less, because that's my negative too.
Detective Wallace, I think.
Yes, it is.
Wallace,
yeah.
That's right.
Wallace.
She was awful. I didn't think she was any help. Whenever Kevin finally calls for help, and he's just had enough, he calls her up and he said, "Hey, I need your help. I'm in some deep shit now." She shows up, and then she's just like, "Oh, you started a war. You better get ready for it. Do everything they say, yada, yada, yada." Instead of actually doing anything to help, I just thought she was worthless. Mm-hmm. And then as soon as
she made him look like the criminal.
Exactly. Yeah. She didn't say anything. She didn't do anything to help. And then as soon as Kevin's whole family gets murdered, presumably the son survives or whatever, she shows up in the hospital, and she's like, "Yeah, this stops now. Yeah, you can't do this anymore," and all this. Instead of, I don't know, I just didn't like her character at all. She was
just
worthless.
like consulting him. Like, she just like yells at him, like, "I told you this was going to happen."
Yeah, I just didn't like her at all. Every time, she just wasn't a good character for me. But that's it. I mean, again, these things aren't horrible things. They're not things that pull the movie down a lot, but they're things I noticed, and that's it for me.
Yeah, and I'm going to continue on that negative train of Detective Wallace. Not very likable. And I know what you're all probably thinking, like, well, she's probably not supposed to be likable. You're not supposed to like her. But yeah, like, I dislike Trent from Friday the 13th. But I still enjoyed his performance of him being an asshole. I just did not get that same connection with her. Like, I just did not like her. Like, just anything.
I think they were trying to drive home that there's consequences to revenge.
Yeah, but
she's symbolic of that.
Somebody else other than her.
Yeah,
that's just like for me personally.
I think that's what they're trying to do with her character, but she seemed very like she wasn't sympathetic towards him at all.
No, not at all.
And really, if he would have just let things go and just spot him out, the guy would have went to jail. But he just couldn't. After 5 years, he was only going to get 5 years or something.
3 to 5 years, I think is what they said.
The guy would have been out again, and it just hit. If I was ever going to go through something like that, who knows, man? Mm-hmm. I mean, being a victim of a tragedy like that. Ugh.
Yeah, and I like that in movies too. Like, just like, what would you do if you were in that character's shoes? Like, I always like to be like questioned with that. Like, what would you do in this situation?
I think you would. I think you would have done what I think in your mind you would want to do what Kevin Bacon did, but I think your sense of morality or most people don't go that far.
Yeah,
they don't act out on their impulse and their emotions as much as they'd like to, especially when you have another son. And what good are you if you're in jail, right? Or dead?
Yeah, exactly. And that was my last negative too. Is the mother and the son. I really didn't care much about them. Like, I cared about Kevin Bacon, like when he lost them. But like, I feel like they just weren't developed enough for me to care about like them dying.
Really, I loved Kelly Preston in this.
Well, I thought
she was good.
Okay, not like great. Like, that's again just my opinion, but I just didn't connect with her as much.
I think that's kind of what I was getting into with the not being fleshed out enough with the family before this stuff kind of hits the fan. You didn't get a chance to. Yeah, I mean, it's not that they were bad in the movie. It's just that they didn't get enough screen time. They didn't. I'm with you on that.
Like I said, I think James Wan was trying to tell all that with the home videos.
Yeah,
I think that's why that was such a long sequence.
Right.
Because
Yeah.
for me, I'm already feeling tense after that. Because you know something bad's going to happen, and you see this great family developing over the years. For me,
yeah, he did what he could within a short amount of time without dragging the runtime up, which is
right.
yeah. And I tell you, anybody who has kids, especially a son, I think you would feel a lot in this movie. I think that it would play into your, because I watched this before I had kids, 2007. Then I watched it again after. It was a completely different experience. When my babies were this small, and every time I watch it now, it gets more. It gut punches me more and more and more. So I think that has a lot to play into this film.
Yeah, and I can easily see that too. And maybe sometime in the future, I could experience what exactly you've experienced about this movie on this current watch. So I can easily see that. And if I want to go one more thing back to the detective, 2 officers, really? When a whole freaking gang of like multiple people are going to come at your house, 2 damn officers? Like, no way.
if it was John McClane, they probably would have been all right.
Yeah, more than likely, but like, gosh, like I know bacon is good and delicious. But,
you know what? You hit on that. You hit on that really well, actually. That was something cliche. The cops outside, of course, they're going to get killed. Even though, like, aren't these guys just street thugs though?
Yeah, I know. Like, they don't do things quietly. They would have made a ruckus, and like they would have already been prepared and heard them outside.
There would have been security on that door and everything. Like, it's all the, but they had to get the family wiped out.
Yeah, and where was the damn detective? Like, if she's all badass, why she didn't stay there and fight?
And
She was worthless.
That's another thing. When they grabbed Kelly Preston and they're throwing her down, they almost think they're going to rape her at one point. There is that, and then they pull back, and then you just see them. They just offer, right, and that's another great part where he's looking at Kelly Preston and Kevin Bacon look at each other, and it's like, oh, it's coming. You just knew it was coming. I was like, oh, freaking intense shit, man. Fucking intense shit.
Very intense.
Yeah. And they went there, dude. They freaking went there at that point. It was dark, man.
Absolutely. But those are my negatives.
Yeah, that's all I got, my friend.
Yeah. All right. So, do y'all want to do some movie ratings?
Let's score this thing out.
Alrighty. So, J-Man, since again you're our special guest, do you want to go tell the viewers of how you do your ratings?
4 out of 5. Raise your fist and yell. That's what I would give it.
And that is a
solid 4 out of 5. Solid.
Awesome. Brad?
Freaking trip to the Tosche station, my friend. It's if I gave it a number rating, it'd be a 4 out of 5 as well.
Yeah, I give it a 4 or 5 as well. It does, like, the movie does have its problems, but so many positives, and this is just truly a very underappreciated movie. I feel like a lot of people should give this either a rewatch or just a first time watch. And I'm telling you, like what, it's going to be good. Like, we will not steer you wrong. Like, we talk almost 40 minutes about this movie, so you already know our thoughts, and it's just a great time. 4 out of 5. We gotta go to the Tosche station and get some power converters.
God, but not the same freaking Tosche station that Kevin Bacon went to.
No, not that.
No, fuck no.
No, we'll skip that one. But yeah, it was great time, man. Again, highly underrated, I think. As far as James Wan flicks go, again, it's kind of crazy that this doesn't stand out more. I think it's great stuff, man. Great stuff.
Yeah, I really felt like we did our job with this review of hunting down for the good reels. I'm telling you, this is a good reel. You are not going to be disappointed.
Just good luck finding it.
Yeah, that's the problem.
I have a multi-region player. I had to get it out. Although you can get it up on DVD. This was flying off the shelves in Blockbuster back in the day on DVD in 2007. There was a lot of there was a lot of it might have did better on its DVD rentals and buying it, but I got it on Blu-ray. I had to get like a European version or something like that, and I got a multi-region player. So
I remember, like, that's why it took me so long. I remember there's a few years ago when I heard of it, I was like, oh, I gotta see this, and I couldn't find it. I tried to find it on Amazon, it wasn't there, couldn't find it. And then I got HBO Max recently on a trial, and I was looking through, and it was there. I was like, God dang, I gotta watch this immediately. And I think they're taking it off at the end of January or at the end of December. I might be wrong on that, but I feel like I did see that at some point. So
Yeah, that sucks
yeah.
ass, man, because it's such a great movie.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
again with our Tosche station rating, like again that means if there's a chance for you to go out and buy it, we strongly recommend you going out and buying it.
Hell yeah, we do.
So, all right, I feel like it's time to close out. Do y'all have any last thoughts about this movie?
Just it's not a viewing you want to watch all the time. That's for sure.
No,
It's
yeah,
an
you got that right.
Doing this one on a watch party would be pretty freaking intense, man.
Oh, it really would.
Sure would.
Brad, any thoughts?
I'm done, my friend.
All right. So, what did you all think about Death Sentence? Are you like us, and in fact, it's a very underappreciated movie, and that you just had a absolute great time with it, and were really impressed with what James Wan did with this flick? Or are you part of the 20% of the Rotten Tomatoes that you didn't like this movie? Let us know in that comment section down below, and let's just get that discussion rolling. Or you can fight with the J-Man, but I'm telling you, you're not going to win.
Right, you are, Ted. And if you want to help us find the good reels, you can do so by finding us on Facebook, Instagram, Letterboxd, Twitter, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Those links are down in the description for you.
Yes, because this will be on our podcast for this review. And J-Man, where can they find you?
Facebook, Instagram. You know, it's at Jason Nike 1979 is my Facebook. The Jason Nike Experience. That's where I talk to all you J Maniacs. And Instagram is my name is Jason13. And I'm very active on Instagram, guys. I'm posting all the time. Mm-hmm. And my YouTube channel too is just Jason Nike. You can find me there. In fact, I'll let you guys. This summer, me and Filthy Dan will be doing a Death Wish review series. So, and this we'll probably put this on there. So I'll go really in depth because I tend to do more of a character breakdown kind of style review. So there'll be lots to talk about again on this one in the summertime. So yeah. So that's what the plan is anyway. We'll see if we can execute it. But yeah, that's where you can find me. Of course, I'm the host of the Stream Demons. I got Be Kind, Please Rewind coming up with Destiny Faulkner, and I got Real Men and Real Movies with these guys. So lots of good stuff coming up. So yeah, so check me out.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, as Brad's already pointed out, we're going to put the J-Man's office links down in the description below. So it's just a simple click for you guys to go follow the J-Man. We highly recommend it. He just produces amazing content. So you are going to be entertained. So for us, be sure to like our video, share, and subscribe to our channel. It really helps our channel when you do that, so we can continue producing more great content. And of course, ring that bell, and the J-Man's here, so I got to do it. Ding, ding.
That's right, buddy.
When the next video is up and rolling.
And we will see you guys soon.
The finger point of doom. See you guys.
The suck zone.
I probably should have done the gun barrel thing. Probably not the right time.